For those of you who don't know me, my name is Joshua Pogonitz. I am 17 years old and a senior at Ida Crown Jewish Academy. Since 5th grade, I've been diagnosed with severe OCD, anxiety, and depression. During February of my sophomore year, I was admitted into a partial, also known as PHP, mental health program because I had been emotionally and physically self-harming while also expressing suicidal thoughts. This was just the beginning. After discharging, I was sent to a new psychiatrist. December 6th, 2018, a school day, I went to an appointment during 11th period, expecting to shortly after go back to my 12th period math class. That's not how it ended up going down. After expressing how I was doing and refusing to attend another PHP program, my psychiatrist said, "I think we're going to go to the hospital right now." Tears filled my eyes, and this felt like one of the scariest and most jaw-dropping moments of my life. After refusing, he threatened to call security. I ended up being hospitalized for 8 days, and my psychiatrists were trying to give me more and more medications. The mental illness that causes my anxiety, distress, and depression is OCD, also known as obsessive compulsive disorder. Throughout my life, it has developed into different forms centering around just right feelings. For example, reassurance seeking, excessive repetitive behaviors, severe perfectionism, and confessing my shame to others. Unless I met the always changing standards of what is enough for Josh Pogonitz, I experienced painful guilt and shame. Always looking to hate on myself, I rarely felt I deserved happiness. Additionally, I denied that I had OCD because I had been so deeply ingraining in my head that it was factual that I was a horrible person due to my not working hard enough for school and sports, two of my biggest passions. I couldn't function. I believed that the only way out of my pain was self-harm and eventual suicide. I even wrote about this pain in my English class assignments. After hospitalization, I went to a PHP program at Rogers Behavioral Health. I attempted to stop breathing forever. On December 17th, I was brought into a family therapy meeting, and I remember it so clearly when they told me that I was to be sent to a residential program in Oconomowoc, Wisconsin. The first words I told my treatment team at Oconomowoc were, "I'm sure you guys are really good at your job, but trust me, I'll never change, and it's all my fault. There's nothing to help me with. I'm fine." I painfully thought over that I was never going to go home, and that these strangers were all mistaken I have OCD, the biggest parts of my pain. They took me up for the challenge. God bless them, because they helped save my life. Still denying I was the fault of my suffering, I hit rock bottom many times, while refusing to tell my team this, because I knew they would say that the only way then was to go up. In a 12-person unit, by the end, I saw over 20 people discharged, and I never did. One day, I finally surrendered to everyone, and I trusted that I had OCD. During 1 week, I sat down with my team and spilled my thoughts. I began learning about my OCD, thought challenging, and I was to start exposure therapy. Exposure therapy is a type of treatment that exposes oneself to things that make one anxious, distressed, depressed, etc. I began noticing progress. I was experiencing happiness consistently for literally the first time in years. While there were many times I wanted to give up, I've been fighting my OCD. After 4 months, I discharged, came home, a different person who then began PHP again. The staff at these programs, PHP Residential, help kids and adults move on and live lives worth living. My residential therapists, behavioral specialists, psychiatrists, residential counselors, as well as my PHP team, have helped me get back on track to fight my mental illnesses rather than fighting with them against me. They showed me they were on Team Josh. I eventually saw God in many ways, like through the often told stories about God holding and crying with his suffering people. What I realized is God is holding us because he sees our pain, while also knowing that we experience our sufferings because they are part of our paths or life, whether we understand that or not. After my sophomore year program, I was sent to a psychiatrist who sent me to the ER. Because I went to the December 6th appointment at the exact time I did, I went to the ER at the exact time I did. While at the ER, there was only one hospital bed in the entire area. Because I was already a patient at the hospital, which had connections to Rogers Behavioral Health, I immediately went to Rogers PHP, which allowed me to immediately get into their residential program. After over 7 months of treatment, treacherous, hard treatment, I tell you, God is watching. Everything happens for a reason, and trust the process. These have been the hardest years of my life. And at the same time, this year has been filled with growth. Progress does not mean that I'll never feel depressed or distressed again. It's not a one-way slope. Rather, it's all over the charts. I have learned that I can overcome anything, even if I feel hopeless, because there have been times that I felt hope. It's okay to feel scared, and it's okay to feel not okay. Some questions I like to ask myself when in distress are, what if I could? What if I do well? What if I survive? This speech was originally more than double what it is now. And by challenging that I do not have to say everything like my OCD wants me to, I have made it shorter. I am more than my mental illnesses, and I can no longer define myself by my OCD. In fact, I'm a runner, a basketball player, a human being, and a fighter doing the best he can in any given moment. At the end of the day, I'm just a kid from Chicago.